Okay, let's unpack this. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. You find a new English word, maybe you see it written down or hear it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You look it up, you think, okay, got it, and then boom, next day.
Gone.
Completely vanished. Like your brain just, I don't know, hit delete overnight.
Yeah, that's a really common experience. If that's happened to you, you're definitely not alone.
It's almost like a rite of passage when you're learning English, isn't it?
It really is. And it highlights something important, right? The difference between just seeing a word and actually knowing it, being able to pull it out when you need it.
Exactly. So that's what this deep dive is all about. We're tackling that exact problem. We've been looking at this great source. It's called Learning and Remembering English Vocabulary Effectively.
Good one?
Yeah, and our mission, basically, is to give you some really practical, actionable tips. Stuff you can actually use to help your, let's say, your English word garden grow faster.
I like that word garden. Yeah, we want to help you feel more, informed and definitely more confident using English vocabulary.
We're trying to close that gap,
Yeah.
between learning a word and actually using it without having to think too hard.
That's the goal.
And we've boiled down the advice from the source into 8 core tips, 8 powerful strategies we think will make a real difference.
Yeah, they're pretty solid.
Ready to dive in and figure out how to make these words finally stick.
Absolutely. Let's get started.
Okay, tip number 1. This might sound a bit obvious, but it's where people often trip up. Don't just memorize lists of words. Learn them in context.
Right. We've all probably done the listing. Flashcards with just single words.
Totally. But why doesn't it work that well? Why do we forget them so fast?
Well, it's really about how our brains are wired, Your brain loves connections. Isolated words are just floating points. They don't have much to attach to. But when you learn a word inside a sentence or see it used in a real situation, your brain builds links. Links to meaning, sure, but also to grammar, to how it's actually used.
So it's more than just the definition.
Exactly. It's the whole network around the word.
Yeah.
That makes it much easier to recall later and use it naturally.
That makes perfect sense. The source uses a good example instead of just trying to drill the word improve.
Yeah, just improve, improve, improve.
Right. Learn it in a full phrase like, I want to improve my English speaking skills. You immediately see the difference.
You really do. That phrase gives your brain the full picture. You get the meaning, you see how it works grammatically, you get a feel for when you'd say that.
Context is king, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. That context is the glue that makes it stick.
Okay, so tip number 2 builds on that. It says, use the word the same day you learn it.
Immediate application.
Sounds simple enough, but what's happening in the brain when we do that? Why is it so important to act fast?
So think about short-term memory, like a temporary inbox. It gets full quickly, and stuff gets deleted if it doesn't seem important.
Right.
Using a new word almost immediately sends a signal to your brain. Hey, this one's useful. Keep it. It helps push that word from the temporary inbox into your longer-term storage.
So it's like flagging it as important before it disappears.
Exactly. You're reinforcing the memory trace while it's still fresh. If you wait too long, it might just fade away.
Okay, so what are some practical ways you can actually do that on the same day?
The source gives some great ideas. You could just say it out loud in a sentence you make up, something about your own life.
Okay.
Or write it down, maybe in a quick journal entry about your day. Or, and this is a good one, try to actually use it in a conversation later. Even just talking to yourself counts.
I like that. Low pressure. Okay, tip number 3 is about making it personal. Learn words that are relevant to your life.
Yes, this is about efficiency, really. Why spend time learning words you're probably never going to use?
That seems obvious, but it's easy to just learn random lists, right?
It is.
Yeah.
But your brain pays more attention to things that connect to your interests, your job, your hobbies. If you're learning vocabulary related to something you actually care about.
Like cooking, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. If you love cooking, learning words like saute, simmer, whisk, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like deepening your passion and that emotional connection. Huge boost for memory.
That makes sense. The source actually breaks it down like, if you're a student, focus on academic words. If you cook, culinary terms. Office worker, business English.
Precisely. The more relevant a word feels to you in your daily life, the stronger the mental hooks you create for it. And you'll be more motivated to actually use it, which, as we just said, is crucial.
Definitely. All right, tip number 4 gets a bit creative. Create associations and mental images. This one sounds fun.
It is, and it's surprisingly powerful. Our brains are incredibly visual.
So making a weird picture in my head actually helps.
It really does. especially weird or funny pictures. They stand out. Think of it like creating a totally unique, memorable mental tag for that word. It makes it less likely to get lost in the crowd.
Okay, I need an example. The source mentions the word enormous, which means, really big.
Right, so the suggestion is to imagine something completely ridiculous, like a giant elephant,
Okay.
trying desperately to squeeze itself into a tiny, tiny room, like a phone booth maybe.
Huh. Okay, I can picture that.
And the source even says crazy ideas are easier to remember. It's true. That slightly absurd, vivid image is much stickier than just the definition, very big.
I'll have to try that one. Okay, tip number 5 feels like core advice for any language learner. Read and listen in English every single day.
Mm-hmm. Consistent exposure, we hear it all the time, but why does it work so well for vocabulary?
Yeah, how does just reading a news article or listening to something help the words stick?
It's about repetition in different contexts. When you encounter the same word in a short story, then maybe hear it in a podcast, then see it in subtitles.
Ah, okay, different places.
Right. Each time you're seeing or hearing it used slightly differently in different sentence structures. It reinforces the meaning, but also gives you a much better feel for its natural usage. It deepens your understanding beyond just the dictionary definition.
So it's not just passive, like letting the language wash over you. You should probably pay attention.
Oh, absolutely. Be active. Notice words you don't know. Maybe pause and look them up, or jot them down to check later. The more times you actively engage with a word in these different settings, the stronger that memory becomes.
Got it. Okay, tip 6 tackles a tool that, well, some people love and some people hate. Use flashcards, but use them the smart way.
Yeah, flashcards can get a bad rap, but the source argues they can be really effective if you upgrade your technique.
So what does smart flashcard use look like? It's not just word on one side, translation on the other.
Preferably not, no. That's okay to start, maybe. But the source suggests better ways, like use pictures or simple drawings instead of just translation. Our brains love visuals.
Okay, pictures. What else?
Write a full example sentence on the back. Context again. See how important that is.
Right, reinforcing the usage.
And a really key thing, use spaced repetition systems. SRS apps like Anki or Quizlet are great for this.
Ah, spaced repetition. That's the algorithm that shows you the cards you're about to forget more often, right?
Exactly. It learns how well you know each word and schedules reviews just before you're likely to forget it. It makes your study time way more efficient because you're focusing effort where it's needed most.
That sounds much better than just drilling the whole stack every day.
Oh, definitely. And that's another point: review a small number daily. Don't try to cram hundreds at once. Little and often is much better for long-term memory.
Makes sense. Okay, tip number 7 is about getting organized. Group words by topic or by word family.
Yes, harnessing the brain's love for patterns again.
How does grouping help us remember?
Well, our minds naturally try to categorize information. When you learn words together that relate to a specific theme, like food words or travel words, you create a mental map.
Like a network.
Exactly. Or grouping by word family, like learning act, action, active, activity actor, all together. You see the connections, how the words are built. It makes recalling them easier because they're linked.
So instead of just random points, you have connected clusters of words in your mind.
Precisely. And the source points out, this can actually speed up your learning. Understanding one word in a family often gives you clues about the others.
That's efficient. Okay, we're at the final main tip, number 8. Practice with real conversations.
This is where the rubber meets the road, right?
Definitely feels like it. All the learning is great, but you need to actually use the words.
Absolutely. Vocabulary knowledge is only truly useful when you can access it and use it to communicate. Real conversations are the ultimate practice ground. You get instant feedback. You have to think on your feet.
So how can you get that practice? The source suggests finding maybe a language partner or an online group.
Yeah, those are great options. Language exchange partners, online communities, conversation clubs, anything that gets you speaking. And I love the goal-setting idea they mentioned.
Oh yeah, the specific goal. Like this week, I will use the word opinion in 3 conversations.
Exactly. Making it concrete like that takes it from a vague wish, I want to use new words, to an actual achievable task. And when you deliberately pull that word out and use it in a real exchange,
it sticks.
It really sticks. That active real-world application cements it in your memory way more effectively than just reviewing it on a flashcard.
Okay, so those are the 8 core tips. But there was a bonus tip too, right, about a notebook?
Yes, the classic vocabulary notebook. Still a fantastic tool.
Why does it work so well?
Having one dedicated place, could be a physical notebook, could be a digital file to collect new words, is incredibly helpful. The key is what you put in it.
Right. Not just the word.
No, the source recommends the new word. Its definition in English, if possible.
Ah, good point. Avoid direct translation if you can.
An example sentence showing how you might use it, maybe some notes on pronunciation, like where the stress falls.
That sounds really comprehensive.
It creates a rich record for each word. And then the crucial part is reviewing it regularly. The source suggests maybe once a week, just flip through it. You'll be surprised how much it comes back to you.
Nice. And to help us actually do all this, the source throws down a little challenge.
Yeah, a practical task. I like this.
It says, pick 3 words you learned recently. Just 3.
Okay.
Write 3 original sentences using each word. Say them out loud, then do the same thing again tomorrow.
It's small, it's manageable, but it combines several of the tips: active use, creating sentences, repetition. As the source says, it's a small habit that really builds fluency over time.
I like that. And they even give us some words to start with if we need them. 10 useful intermediate words.
Oh yeah, which ones?
Let's see. Confident, explain, experience, improve, suggest. Then common, comfortable, respond, opportunity, and understand.
Oh wow, yeah. Those are all super useful high-frequency words. You'd use those all the time.
Totally. And the suggestion is just try to use maybe 3 of them today. Consciously weave them into your speaking or writing.
That's a great way to kickstart these habits immediately. Pick 3, use them. Simple.
So wrapping this all up, the big message seems to be that learning vocabulary doesn't have to be this boring grind of memorization.
Not at all. It's about engagement, making it active, making it personal, connecting words to your actual life.
That personal connection really seems key. If a word matters to you, you're just more likely to remember it.
Absolutely. And it's also important to remember what the source mentions. Forgetting is normal. It's part of the process. Don't beat yourself up about it.
Right. The key is just to keep going, keep learning new words, keep reviewing the ones you know, and crucially, keep using them.
Consistent effort, focus on the right techniques.
Exactly. So maybe a final thought for you listening. Think about these techniques we discussed. Which ones are you maybe not using right now?
Good question.
And how could adding even just one of them change things for you? Maybe try it today. Pick one new word, apply one of these tips, context, imagery, same-day use, whatever, and just see if you remember it better tomorrow.
Give it a shot. You might be surprised at the difference it makes.